For coming out. Bye. Yeah, it looks like my wife left me. Thanks everybody showing up to our weekly Sunday hangout session. Tonight we've got Rick, one of the infamous co-creators of Days of the Dead. He's going to be joining us tonight. At some point in time, we're going to have Jason Hoover from Jab Pictures. He's obviously running late, which is no surprise. So say hi, Rick.
Hi, everyone.
You guys know Rick. He does all the artwork, handles the back end, is the face behind Days of the Dead. He's the one who, makes everything run as smoothly as possible, at least as much as he can.
Yeah, within reason.
Why don't you, one thing I wanted to talk about is we're waiting on Jason for this, but you can jump into this too because you are an artist. We've got a lot of independent artists out there that are trying to get their name out. But there seems to be a lot of stuff coming out that just really isn't good. How do you get your name? What's your opinion on getting your name out there with still keeping your artistic integrity, for that matter?
It's actually a really good question, and that's assuming that I even am good. So this is coming from a very mediocre artist at best. But getting your name out there is really just about just doing your work. And I've always found if your work's good, people will find you. There's some that really put it all out there, and that's fine too. But I was fortunate enough to have Adolfo and Bill put on this glorious convention and allow me to draw pictures, and they give me the creative reign to even put them on T-shirts every now and then. So I was pretty lucky in that respect. But if your work's good, people will find you. That's kind of always how I've looked at it.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Rick actually does all the artwork for all the T-shirts you see, the cool designs that are on the website. He handles the majority of all of that. There's some more people behind the scenes, but he's one of the main guys when it comes to the artistic side of Days of the Dead, and going to be the new convention, Culture Shock.
Yes, Culture Shock is a whole new window of opportunity for all sorts of different artwork. Generally Days of the Dead is more macabre, skull, demon type stuff. So Culture Shock will bring us more into the sci-fi comic realm, which is I'm happy as hell to be able to work in. So,
Now, that brings us to one of the questions I'm sure a lot of people have. When there was an announcement of the 5th Days of the Dead show, everybody, assumed it was going to, naturally just assumed it was going to be another horror convention. Don't mind me while I get rid of my cat. Assumed it was going to be another horror convention in a new city, but it didn't go that way. Is there a particular reason why you went with the new format, for that matter?
I think with the 4 shows, I think we've saturated ourselves with about as much horror as we could possibly pump out without getting repetitive. And as everybody knows, that when they go to a Days of the Dead show, we're all about innovation, doing things new. If we're bored, we're going to assume everybody else is bored. Not to say we're bored at all with horror, but 4 shows of it, man, we live, breathe, drink, sleep, fuck, screw, whatever you want with horror. So now we just want to jump into a new realm. And, Sci-Fi Comic-Con is, I'm all about it.
I could tell just from the smile on your face as soon as you started talking about it. You're like,
Yeah. I'm a horror junkie, and I'm also a comic junkie, and I've never really been able to kind of express that side. So this is just a fucking great format to do it in. And talent always finds us. And already with Culture Shock, just announcing it, we've got so many great people that are already wanting to work with us. It's just a whole new smorgasbord of just badassness.
Well, that's good. I think it's going to take definitely a new, fresh approach on the Comic-Con, to use that as a general term, definitely. Hopefully to be able to apply the magic that became Days of the Dead, with keeping all the fans happy, all the talent happy, obviously all the staff happy. That's one thing I think that separates Days of the Dead away from every other con is definitely everybody that's involved is having fun doing it. It's a job, but it's not work. And that's one thing that makes it fresh. Everybody goes into it as, man, we're ready to party. We're going to work our asses off, but we're also going to party just as hard.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've always looked at it as like we're all gearing up for battle, and when we, come, June 27th, commencement begins. It's battle time. Get your drinking shoes on and get ready to rock and roll, and that's how that show flows. You could tell it's tight, but it's loose in the respect that you'll see me and Adolfo out there having whiskey drinks with the crowd, and Bill out there, drinking his Jaeger, whatever the hell he's got mixed in that damn cup. And I mean, it's just a good time, and we get to see all these people and just have a blast, work with, you, and it's become a family. I mean,
yeah, and that's one thing I hear so much even when I first started with Days of the Dead, it was, everybody, it's a very tight-knit family to where everybody's going to bat for everybody else, just like, one person has a problem, everybody's going to jump in to help solve that problem. A DJ has equipment go down, boom, we've got somebody there working with him. We've got an issue with technical, boom, somebody else is there. Need somebody picked up from the airport, you got 5 people going, I'm going. That's one thing, and it's not just for monetary reasons. It's for, wanting to help out, essentially. So I'm going to send Hoover another invite. I don't know where the hell he's at.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a creative conglomeration of people that we work with, and we work with the best people. I mean, I can't say that enough. It's great. I mean, most of the people we would, if we weren't doing these conventions and, we were more local, we would be the same guys sitting at our local tavern having drinks, growing up, going to high school together. I mean, everybody in this circuit is just ultimate.
I think if we all lived in the same town, they would kick us out.
Oh, there would be huge problems. One, a lot of shit would get done, or nothing would get done.
I think it'd be more of the other end. Yeah, we're not going to get nothing done.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's great about the convention, too. Is, we only see each other 4 times a year, but we're, all blood brothers, literally. It's, we're constantly in contact, et cetera, et cetera. So,
yeah,
anyways, let's get back.
I've got to interrupt you here because I've already sent out my disclaimers to everyone. I didn't get well, Jason's not here. I was going to tell him. He always has 40s waiting for me at every show, but I wasn't in Atlanta, so Indy is going to have to really be double speed because me missing that, we've got some catching up to do. So get the body bags ready and pull that horse up to the back end.
Well, you were a little busy around that time, It's you're excused. That's about the only excuse you can have for missing a Days of the Dead show. For those that don't know, Rick just did have a little bitty baby girl. Actually, Jen had him. Rick just was kind of there. So. Yeah, Yeah, so it's all good. But so let's get back to the culture shock. What are some of the things that you think you want to do different from other cons that you really want to do with the Culture Shock Con? Have you even gotten that far yet, too? This is pretty fresh, so, I may be asking questions, and if I am, everybody in the chat, forgive me, but, I know just about as much as you guys do on this, so just because I'm involved in things doesn't mean I know stuff.
I can't relinquish much in regards to, news and updates, but what I can tell you is we have one solid formula that we work with Days of the Dead, and that is to keep that environment that we've created with the horror convention. Whereas when you go to Wizard World or C2E2s, which are great conventions, but there's this disconnect from everybody else. You're kind of your own island, scootering around to different booths, whereas, I want it to be like everybody's in it together and we're just celebrating art and science fiction and Comic-Con and pop culture, video games, I mean, all those things that just, we all live for.
So that's what it's going to be a lot. So you're going to have a lot of comics, stars, et cetera, I'm assuming. Video game stuff. I heard there was going to be some wrestlers involved, too. Is that correct?
Yes, wrestlers involved. So we'll dip into that. That's a little similar along the thread of Days of the Dead. We'll sprinkle some wrestlers because we like to have that little bit of violence to every show. And that's
as long as we ain't got to break it up. Yeah. Fuck, come on, man.
There's got to be a little bit of danger. I mean, we have to. We can't do a show without it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we're definitely going to hit those angles we can't really focus on with the horror convention.
Yeah, and you do get a lot of feedback, especially you get some people who just aren't very open-minded, I guess you could say, why you got a wrestler at a horror show? Just because Days of the Dead is a horror convention doesn't mean it's not a fun convention, and to be honest, a lot of horror fans are big wrestler fans. That seems to be, for some reason, they kind of go hand in hand, I don't know if it's the violence or, the crazy acting. Let's put it that way. It's just I see a lot of that. I don't really see too many horror fans that aren't wrestling fans. I am fortunately the rare exception. I am not a big wrestling fan. I just could never get into it. I know, of course, I love Roddy Piper because he was in They Live. But other than that, I just really couldn't get into it. I was more into music at the time, big 80s hair band metal, and hence why I have no hair now. Fucking Aquanet. I had big hair, man. It was scary. I look at some of the pictures now, I'm like, I am never showing these out to the public.
I couldn't even imagine it, but yeah, there should be some lawsuits with Aquanet and the amount of male pattern baldness that's come along with that horrible product.
Well, yeah, you got people. I mean, look, there's even stars. You got Don Dokken, he's bald. Bret Michaels is bald. For those who don't know, he is bald. That bandana thing, it's
real, and you know it.
Yeah, the bandana's real. There's no hair underneath it. It's like stapled to the back.
Yeah, it's sewn into his flesh, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so no, he changes the color on him. So he's probably got like a Velcro like tab that it's sewed into his head.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it just goes along with that big hair. It's kind of ironic in a way, but what are you gonna do?
It got him laid then, and then it's still getting him laid, I guess.
I was gonna say, yeah, and it did, and it does.
Bret Michaels is still touring. He's up in South Bend tonight. Actually, I seen somebody from high school checked in on Foursquare, and I'm like, why? And the tickets are nuts. They're paying like $75 to see him. It's like, what is he, on tour, or which TV show is he doing? Pimp My RV, or... Yeah, like Adolfo said, that bandana may be well of those reggae dreadlock hats, like the Juggalos wear. So...
Yeah, that's a whole nother different beast. Yeah, I'd rather just avoid, to be honest with you. But
yeah, that one's just kind of there. We won't even dwell into that one.
To be honest, I'm surprised you're here, Bill. I figured Bret Michaels is in town. You'd be gone.
I couldn't afford it. That's all it was. $75 a ticket, and
okay.
I'm too old to fight those little girls anymore. You got the MILF moms who are in their, for like 45. They're like, oh, Bret Michaels is in town. I used to love him in Poison. They put on their old slut clothes, and it looked good then. And when you could fit in them, and gravity, never mind. That's the bad thing about getting old, man. It's all about gravity.
Yeah, you find out gravity's no longer your friend, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, I'm happy with it, so it's all good. Apparently all my stalkers are too. Hi, stalkers. I see you, and you, and you, and you, and oh, okay. So, well, Rick, why don't you tell, we're kind of at a stalemate waiting for Hoover, but that's all right. Why don't you tell us about your little baby girl?
Oh, geez. There's, I could fill the show with an hour on just that, but, I'd rather not bore you with the details on that, but what I will say is, by far, just all the things I've ever created, by far the best thing I've ever created. That's really all I'll say about that. But yeah, Charlotte, she's I don't know, apple of my eye. I could go. I don't want to get all sappy on this radio. I don't want to drag the show down with this sap. You've got a reputation to uphold, and we just
for all let's see, 10 viewers. But hey, it's all good. We're just hanging out. Adolfo's got a question for you, actually, Rick. Who do you want to see as a guest at Culture Shock?
Ooh, let's start with artists. I would probably go with a Chris Claremont, a Qbert. If I were to go with celebrity-wise, anybody with any relation to Star Wars in any fashion. Yeah, that would.
Don't you think maybe the Star Wars guests are kind of overplayed? I mean, that's one thing Days of the Dead does, is they don't book everybody. It's just like they don't overbook everybody that's already been done. We don't. You don't do all the Walking Deads over and over and over again. But
you're absolutely right. But I have to interject because a lot of times Days of the Dead we book guests that we're personal fans of. So everybody else might be oversaturated, but I'm personally not. So if we can get them in, I'm all for it. But I've got to convince the other two heads of the Hydra to do so. Which one I know wouldn't be too tough, but you never know. I'm really with the Culture Shock. I'm just excited to do it. So anybody we get at this point, it'd be a pleasure to work with.
Now the artists you mentioned, what were their names again?
Chris Claremont. There's Kubert that does a ton of shit.
Yeah, what do they do mostly?
Well, I'm talking early '90s X-Men is probably one of the pivotal, threads in anybody that grew up in that generation of collecting comic books. Which I've often been told that anybody under 30 doesn't collect comic books. Well, that would be, we're in the 30s. Those are the books I collected. I think that's what got a lot of people into collecting comic books. And, it's just, yeah, I could go crazy on just that guy alone. And if we were to book somebody like him, that would be an inspiration right then and there. But yeah, and X-Men related, I know that Bill's a big Alpha Flight fan. I'm sure he's got, and it's a Canada thing at that, but between me, Bill, and Adolfo, we could just kill this show with just awesome guests. So, what about you, Bill? Who would you like to personally?
Man, that's a tough one. To be honest, I really haven't even given it much thought. As much shit as I'm probably gonna get at this convention now, just for me saying this, I have never seen all the Star Wars movies. I have never collected comic books, and I don't like wrestling.
Oh, you were in for a treat then.
So it's like everybody's going, why the fuck are you coming? Why are you going to be there? I'm going to tell you why I'm going to be there, for the fucking party, and that's it.
Yes. Yeah, the party is going to be our focal point, too, as well. We've got to bring that into that comic book realm. We've got to bring it into that, where that after party that we create at Days of the Dead. We need to find a way to converge that into these into Culture Shock, which I see no problem because I think all we ever work with is partiers. So it's a contagious thing.
Well, George here in the chat, he's saying Chris Claremont would be a huge hit since he's the reason why X-Men were successful in the 80s. Len Wein, Herb Trimpe, forgive me if I'm pronouncing one. The older creators bring the crowds. Getting new artists and writers is really hard, especially if they're from Image, DC, and Marvel. Oh, and Big Larry says he wants to meet Lobo.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Who's Lobo?
Lobo's a badass dude. You should just Google.
I know who Lobo is. I'll go that far. I will. But fucking Adolfo's going, what the fuck?
Yeah, if you don't know, you should just check him out.
Yeah, I did read. I read comics as a kid. Mostly they were Supermans. I won't lie. In fact, they've even got besides the shirt, I got my Superman pajamas on tonight, so I am actually matching. My biggest, I guess, comic fascination was the Superman, and then when Smallville came on, I was the diehard Smallville fanatic. So that's who I want. I want Smallville people. There we go. That's who I want. Especially not Tom Welling. The fucking guy who did Lex Luthor. What's his name?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he's got the thing on the back of his head. It was
Rosenbaum.
Yeah, Rosenbaum, Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah.
We won't even get into Lana Lang and all them, but
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I was a big Smallville fanatic. Actually, one of my Pride and Joy posters is right outside of this wall on the other side. It's the first poster that came out for Smallville back when it was still on WB, before it got changed to like 5 different networks that it did. It was when it started on Tuesdays, and the poster was a comic book release only, or comic book store release only. And they only did like maybe I think 500 of them. And I ended up getting one for like $20 before the show got really popular, and it's framed. I think it's going for about 400 now though.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and it's like somebody's like, "Oh, you ought to sell it." I'm like, "No, I love the damn thing. It's one of my favorite things." But yeah, it was to the point. Basically when Smallville was on, you didn't bother calling me. Don't instant message me on the computer. Don't even knock on my door because I won't answer the phone.
So. Yeah, my collection. I got an extensive Superman collection. When they had the Death of Superman, I remember I thought I was the coolest dude because I got a hold of the Death of Superman in the black bag with the dripping blood, thinking this is gonna be my.
I remember that one.
Tuition. I'm gonna pay for everything. I'm gonna retire on this book, and then you find out like 5 years later, all your buddies had it. Everybody's buddies had it. They printed a bajillion copies. Now you can pick it up for like $1.
Yeah, well, I do remember that one. That's when they did and then after that's when they went to like the split of the four different
Yeah, the
sorts.
four new Superman.
Uh, Man of Steel, the like the pseudo young Superman with the leather jacket. I don't remember all their
Yeah,
names.
like Superboy, and you had yeah, the Man of Steel, the Cyborg. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. See, that's my Bible on Superman.
there you
Everything from the beginning to the end. Well, it actually ends. This book was actually done. I think it was 2009 when this came out. So there's still quite a bit that's come out. My mother-in-law actually bought me this. This has been in my bathroom forever and a week, so you probably don't want to touch it. But yeah, that was great bathroom reading material. So, but yeah, I mean, if I had a choice, so that would to answer your question, it would definitely be the Smallville people, because I would have them do my poster outside there. So.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I was into Smallville for a little while. I kind of faded off of it.
Well, and as much as I hate to say it, and as big of a fan as I was, yeah, I couldn't watch it anymore after about the eighth season, just because it started getting too far out there. And no, I didn't even. I did, to be honest, I didn't even watch the last two seasons. I've got them on my computer, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch them one of these days. And no, it just got no. No interest in me at all. So hold on, I'm trying to get a hold of fucking Hoover here. Let's see. Uh, he is gone. Waiting on you with Rick. You know, fucking Hoover. He's always late. He's probably fucking jacking off or something. So.
You never know. Jacking off or killing somebody. You could one of the two.
Wilkham says no love for Lewis and Clark. Or Lois and Clark. Right? Well, he said Lewis and Clark, but it is Lois and Clark. I'm reading it and saying it at the same time. Lewis and Clark, we won't go there. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Now, actually, I enjoyed that show for a while, too. Until, like everybody else, they got married and it just went, the storyline just took a dump. You know, that was the whole thing about that show was, you know, it was the build-up of them getting married and whatnot. It's kind of like seeing a stripper. She's more erotic if she has tan lines because you're seeing something that you shouldn't be seeing. Once you see it all, and it just loses its effect.
Loses the luster. Yeah, that was one show I never watched too much. Yeah, Lois and Clark, Smallville. I got into. Now there's, they've got all the movies. I like to watch the old George Reeves Superman. I thought that was really cool just because it was very dated, but still awesome.
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of that old. I've got a lot of the old radio shows too. I listen to a lot. I listen to those a lot when I'm traveling. I don't know. You probably weren't aware of it. We actually had a Superman museum here in Indy for a while. This guy was a very big Superman fan, and basically he took everything out of his basement, made it into a museum. That's how much stuff he had. He had also had some Batman stuff. He had one of the. I'm trying to remember which one it was. The second Batman movie, he had one of those Batmobiles, a replica. He did have a replica of the 60s Adam West Batboat. Had tons of original George Reeves costumes, all kinds of neat stuff. Unfortunately, it failed financially, but I was there like 3 times. I almost got married there, to be honest. But
shit.
Yeah, it was really, really neat. And I was really bummed when it died. So I was like, oh, man.
Well, did you ever visit Metropolis in Southern Illinois?
No, but that's one place I've been wanting to go, just to be there. The cool thing is, funny you mentioned that, we actually have a Metropolis shopping center here in Indy. Well, it's in Plainfield. So I have pictures. When it first opened, I had pictures of me standing in front of the sign, and it says Metropolis. Of course, I was wearing a Superman shirt. And that's when Smallville was still on and still cool. So.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, you'll have to visit Metropolis. Pretty cool. They've got the old phone booths, which are pretty cool. The big statue.
Yeah, I've seen the big statue where he's doing all that. The other show I couldn't get into though at all either too was Heroes. Did you ever get into that at all?
Not watch Heroes. I've been told I should. I've been told it's good.
I have heard mixed reviews of it. I watched a little bit, but couldn't really get into it.
Yeah, Heroes was never. So I think that there's a reboot of that coming out. But yeah, I don't know if I'll catch up and get into that either.
Yeah, reboots I am about so burned out on of everything. It's like, really, Hollywood, can you put out something new? You know, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about with Hoover. We Hollywood, and I'm sure everybody will primarily agree with it. Hollywood is dead. It does nothing but plagiarize itself, and it's like fucking its own dead corpse over and over again. Because every movie that comes out is a remake, a redo, part one, or a prequel, sequel, or it's based off a video game. And nothing new coming out is anything new. You've got new stuff that does, which it sucks, but you got a lot of independent movies that come out that are just outstanding, that don't get the recognition that they need. I mean, they're getting more now because Hollywood's dead. It's not offering people the same stuff, or it's not offering them anything they want, so they've had to look through to other venues. But, you know, really anything that comes out, you know, this is me on my soapbox, I guess you could say, anything that's came out lately, it's been very lackluster. I mean, there's a few exceptions, but other than that, you know, and that's one thing I wanted to talk to Hoover about, you know, when we were talking about earlier about, you know, getting your stuff out there while keeping your integrity, not just selling your soul to the devil, you know, trying to get it out there. I wanted people to understand what you guys as artists have to do that. You know, you can keep making product, and it may be good, but you've got to find a way to get it out there, I guess. And that's what I wanted to touch base with him on. You know, and that's why I was asking you the same thing. What about you in the chat room? What do you guys look for in an independent movie? You know, we've got about a 10-second delay, so I'll have to talk until they figure it out. You know, what do you look for in an independent movie, Rick?
You know, I like things that I like when people do a lot with a little. So if the budget's not huge, I like little techniques, little tweaks. You know, like a John Carpenter Halloween, where he adds these very awesome, dark visual effects that are really very easy effects when you look at it in the context of it, but they're very effective in drawing the story to the viewer. You know, I thought, you know, Hoover's like, I wish Hoover was on right now to talk about I Am No One. You know, I like a lot of what he did where that was you know, he's speaking to the camera. You feel very inside of that story. Anytime you have a good story and you're able to tell it well, you know, I don't care if you've got a huge budget, little budget. I want to hear a good story. Something.
Yeah. And that's funny because you're saying it even with the delay. Welcome Foof. I can't read. He said a good story, you know, and that's what makes the movie, you know, to me too. And I fully agree with it. You know, it's not special effects, it's not gore. I mean, anybody can, you know, do a Saw movie. You know, granted, the Saw movies are great, but anybody can do a movie that, you know, that just, okay, I'm gonna chop a finger off, you know, and make you cringe to do it, but to keep a story behind it. That's what I don't see people Hollywood doing anymore. They don't have a story behind it. They go for the cheap thrills, I guess. Even though they're not cheap, they're spending multi-millions of dollars on stuff. It's like, what could Jason Hoover do if he had a fucking $20 million budget?
Well, and the thing about it too is when they're telling the stories, a lot of time you'll have somebody writes this really good story, and then a producer will get a hold of it, and they'll put what they think is cool or what, and they might not have any relation to the original story. So what they bring to it doesn't jive, and it feels very inauthentic. You know, when Jason Hoover tells a story, you almost get the feeling like, where did this dude come from? Like, you know, in a director's sense, like where, you know, it has a very authentic feel. As opposed to somebody with a shit ton of money in California is like, oh, I like that story. That's really cool. There's a serial killer. Well, let's add a robot that does. You know, it's like, okay, that doesn't make any fucking sense. You know, I like a good story that feels authentic and real. You know, so those are aspects I would look for.
I'm still trying to get Hoover on. You should see the stuff. He's like, help! Give me a minute here. I gotta send this over to his. Fuck, I haven't even signed into Google Plus. I'm like, how long here?
My goodness.
Yeah, it was funny. I asked him today when I asked him to be on, if he wanted to be on. He said sure, and I said, well, you got a Google Plus page, right? And he's like, yeah, you're the first person to ever ask her that. I said, yeah, I'll probably be the last one too. There he is. All right, hold on. Let's try one more over here. Add the circles. Ah, dang it. Yeah, this is the great part about live video too. You know, we're doing this on the fly, and that's why we do this on a Sunday, because really it's a hangout session, and that's why we call it the round table. You know, everybody just hangs out, shoots the shit. We really don't have a subject matter. We just try to, answer, do whatever. It's nothing major. In fact, I lost my beer, but yeah, that's another story.
I think I saw the cat grab it.
No, I know where it's at. It's sitting on the sink right now where I open it. It's like, okay, I'll go this. I gotta go. Oh wait, I gotta go send everybody over their links, and then yeah, I got sidetracked. So.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah, I mean that's one thing I think about a lot. Could these artists that are pulling great movies on shit budgets, doing Lee Verver or whatever his name is, who I can never pronounce, was on our show Friday. We did 2 movies with him, 2 of his movies, and he did a movie that was just as good of, if not better, than The Car and Duel, called The Truck, and it was just everybody in the room loved it. For those that don't know, we do movies every single Friday. Live right here, streaming on the video. Normally we have someone with the cast in the chat with you, answered your questions too. But enough selling of our shows here. They're great. He was he did this movie on a $6,000 budget, which actually that's pretty high for an independent movie anymore. I've been seeing people doing them for $1,000 to $2,000 and getting away with stuff that just is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I mean you can see some people do some really creative stuff with absolutely no budget. I mean it happens, but those are that's like I said, it goes back to story. It goes back to having a vision and sticking to it, and not letting anybody change it. Not letting anybody tweak it, and having an artist actually go through and do what they do.
Fucking Michael. I thought he was gonna say he thinks about beer a lot. Well, I do, but that's a whole other story. Another thing that I kind of wanted to touch base on and wanted to see how everybody else is feeling about it, horror really has become very main TV itself, which I've got kind of mixed feelings about that. Now, granted, we are getting a lot of new horror on TV. We've got, of course, The Walking Dead, but we're getting, unfortunately, they're remakes and reboots, but we won't even get into that subject. We got Bates Motel, Hannibal. Now that we're doing Fargo too, but that's not really horror. That's kind of one thing that's got me with mixed feelings. Is I'm happy that it's hit mainstream, but I'm kind of bummed out that it is too, because it's call me it's like my hipster status. I liked horror before it was cool. What do you feel about that, Rick?
Yeah, there is a lot of that, and there's part of me that doesn't like when somebody takes the helm of a character and then totally does something that I feel wouldn't be, the attitude of that character, or does something weird. And I think if you get a creative entity to do a remake that really has a feel for the original and its fans, they can do it right. It just seems to be rare, though. It seems like if they can pump some bucks out of something, they'll do it the cheapest, effective way possible, and it shows.
Well, the only thing I don't like about these reboots that they're doing, and this is something else that kind of sidetracks on that same thing. They're redoing them. This is supposed to be the prequel, like to Bates Motel. We'll use that one as an example. Hey, look who showed up. It's supposed to be a prequel of the original story, but it's set in modern time. That doesn't quite jive with me, and I know that they're just they're not trying to make it true. But, it's like, Norman Bates with a cell phone I just don't get. So, holy shit, look at that. It's a fucking Hoover. Hey, everybody, say hi to Jason Hoover from Jab Films. He was supposed to be here 35 minutes ago. We've been sitting here blabbing. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, my wife just shut the door on me. Apparently I'm being too loud again. So
it's the kids, man. Kids are the worst, dude. They ruin everything.
He's fucking asleep, man. I got like the best kid in the world. It was like, Dad, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. So yeah, he's 4 years old. I'm just tired.
That's nice.
All right, later. I was like, you want me to tuck in? No, I got it.
Lucky.
Fucking flips open his laptop, presses play on the movie, and goes to sleep. So, well, Hoover, some of the questions you missed, but I did want to get your answers on. We were talking about artists and, such as yourself, getting their product out there with still keeping your integrity but still trying to make a buck and get your movie seen. How do you go about doing things like that? What's your advice?
Oh, man, I don't know that there's an answer to that necessarily. I just try to tell people to create your legitimacy. As far as artists go, a lot of people will try to take advantage of you because they're like, I'll just draw some shit. It's a lot different in my case, I just had a buddy come over and fix my roof. Swinging a hammer is a real thing, but if you hire Rick to do your artwork, you don't see it. You have no idea that he spent, 30 hours on a piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of times you have to create that air that you're a professional and you have to hold a certain standard and you have to conduct yourself in a certain manner so that people understand that you're not just some, riffraff, that you're deal.
Well, I think the other thing, too, is that people don't realize that,
I really don't think, though, there's a...
Yep, he's cut
go ahead.
down. No, you're fine.
No, I don't think people realize the amount of for example, to develop your craft, they look at your last product like you just did that. They don't look at the time it takes to learn the effects, to do particular, styles and looks, and, especially in filmmaking or any artistry, you develop a craft through time, perseverance, and diligence, and people only look at your last work and say, oh, wow, it took you 10 minutes, but yeah, it took fucking 20 years to figure out how to make it look like that. And I think people just, what have you done for me lately type of feel.
Well, on that subject too, Rick, how you do all the artwork for the T-shirts and whatnot. How long does it normally take you to bust one of those out? Just the original sketch drawing itself.
Directly correlates to sometimes it depends on how drunk I am. It could depend. Sometimes I'll do sometimes the best designs in fucking Flash. And then sometimes I will sit there and bang my head on the wall for a weekend, all day, 12 hours, 24 hours to get, just one particular aspect. It really depends. But, it's your training throughout the years of doing it and solving your own problems and then making it feel like it's yours.
Well, I kind of get the same thing too when for those that don't know, I'm in IT. I work and fix on computers all day and it drives me fucking nuts sometimes, but that's another story. I get a lot of times I'll fix something or even working in Active Directory and I'll end up fixing a problem and everybody's like, well, how'd you do that? I'm like, I have no idea. I just did. And they're like, well, can you document it how you did it? I'm like, no, I don't know how I did it. I just did it and it works. Now leave me the fuck alone. So my job is nothing like an art form, and I wish I had an artistic side to me that I could express it like that. But I'm too technical, Just like I tried to play that thing on the wall, I've got nothing. I can do bar chords, but I'm great at Guitar Hero because it's a set pattern. I know how to do it. I just don't have the artistic ability. But it looks great on the wall, so I leave it there. But and I admit that I suck at it too. So.
Yeah, I think part of it too is knowing when, you'll make a mistake and knowing whether it's going to, sometimes that's what your artistic touch is. For example, I mean, you see those like, Jason might know those French films that they did in the 50s where they just filmed it with people walking by and you had this really natural fucking look and they didn't recut it. They didn't go and refilm it all the time. They just left it. People would look at the camera like, what the hell? But they left it and it adds this really unique feel to it. It's, one of them, the film was Breathless, if you want to reference there, but, Jason's I Am No One, where, it's in Chicago, and that, you don't get to choose the weather, it just, but it creates a feel, a natural, artistic feel, and that's to recognize whether it's good or bad, and I think that's what makes a good artist good. And
there was a director who did something very similar to what you were talking about, and I can't think of his name. It was I don't know if anybody's ever seen. There's a great documentary series on Netflix, The History of Film. Have you seen that, Hoover? It's like 15 different hours, but I've been watching that, and that's really interesting. There was a director in the 40s who did that. He was like the same one who did the movie where he like filmed for like 2 to 3 days or something like that. He didn't have any film in the camera. He was just trying to prepare everybody for the actual filming. It was really trippy. So I don't know. What about you, Hoover? What do you think about the shit Hollywood's putting out right now? And I say shit because it is. I don't think we have any audio from Hoover. Anybody hear him? Can you hear him, Rick?
No audio.
Nope, no audio, Hoove. Just smile and wave. Yeah, I guess, this is the fun part about live TV. We don't fucking care. So, Jesus Christ. Oh, man, the only thing worse could be Lewis here just talking over all of us. Oh, did I say that? Oh, shit. Well, let me think. What was the other point that I wanted to make about it? What about you, Rick? What do you got? I'm kind of stumped right this second.
I really want to I want to hear what Jason's got to say. I'd always, when we go to the conventions and stuff, I never get to, like I get to, he supplies me with a 40 ounce but talk shop with him. I mean, I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm hoping he gets his audio cracking right now.
Are you working on it there, Hoover? No, I think he muted himself. You're muted. You muted yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
It was in the settings. It was trying to take over and switch back to my speakers. That was the problem. Okay, so we're good. What did you ask me? Because I have no idea what you asked me.
Why don't you go ahead and take it, Rick? You had some questions first.
Oh no, we kind of never left the artistic integrity, but we were just talking about that, that artistic touch that you have when you might not get the shot you want, or you might not get the exact way you want it, but just maybe the fortunate mistakes of artistry where you're like, wow, that just really fucking works. I didn't plan on it, but it fucking kicks ass. And then we segued into the garbage of Hollywood movies these days.
Oh yeah, Bill. I think with independent film more than almost any other medium, you're so dependent on other people and environment and weather and technical stuff working out and equipment. And there's just a lot of sacrifice that comes to making a film. It's never perfect. It's never what you want. It's compromise. So as a director, you kind of, as a writer-director especially, you have a vision. When you write that movie, you know what it's supposed to look like. You just have to get people to get it as close as you can to. And a lot of times it's frustrating. I mean, you spend a lot of nights going through footage, like, this shit is not good. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. But there are other times where, beautiful things will happen because of that. So I think that's what Rick is talking about, is that you as an artist, you just kind of have to find it. It takes a little bit of balls. You got to be willing to lose once in a while so that you can kind of go outside the box and do something different. It's not the easiest thing in the world to come up with a new idea for a film or a new idea for a piece of art. There's only so many skulls, man. That's just the way it is. Yeah. So for Rick to be able to find a way to utilize that skull, I think is, a testament to his talent. I think that's why we did with the collective. We did a zombie-themed Volume 5. And a lot of that was because people were bitching about zombie movies left and right and saying, you can't do anything, it's dead, get over it, we need to move on. And I really wanted the collective to prove to people that that's not true. We just aren't having enough access to, new ideas. And I think independent filmmakers, especially for the collective, because we keep the budget so low, that you have to be inventive. You have to think outside the box. You can't crash a car into another car. You just don't have money to do that. So you have to figure out a way around it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like my wife has to drive that car, man. I don't know what to tell you. We can't crash it. And I'm like, are you sure we can't crash it a little bit? And they're like, no, you can't crash it at all. And you're like, come on, man. We'll just crash the back of it.
Like, you won't even see it.
No, yeah. I mean, you have to deal with what you have to. And that was the thing with, like Rick was saying with I Am No One, is the lead of the film and I just literally wandered around the city with a camera. Kind of found what was happening, So no one knows, no one has any idea what we're doing. No one has any idea that we are filming a movie or what's happening. I even kind of played it off sometimes where I would, stay 300 yards away from him. Intentionally to make it people not have the connection between like, oh, they're doing something. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something.
I want to be involved.
So, to let real people be, involved, and to have this character who is a maniacal kind of killer just literally walking around with people. And I was hoping that, viewers would see that and kind of feel that, like, you really don't know who is around you. And you know, the FBI says there's between 30 to 50 active serial killers in the United States at all times. So someone somewhere is in a restaurant with a guy who eats people. That's just a fact of it.
Write that down.
So, you know, I was hoping that people would be a little more, yeah, absolutely. People would be a little more aware of their surroundings and, you know, take it serious. That not everyone is as kind as you want them to be, you know?
Well, what's cool about that particular film too is that you're filming it, and nowadays people look for violence on the internet all the time. So when you see somebody filming, and there's cameras all over the place, everybody's filming with their phone. So when you see something like that, it creates that disguised look where, you know, like you're filming a serial killer at the same time you're filming. Nobody knows none the better. You know what I mean? They're not paying attention to what you're doing. It's just you're completely under the radar, and that's what makes that really terrifying. Is that, like Jason said, you don't know what your neighbor's doing or whether you're in a restaurant with, you know, and it's just that film does capture that feeling. And even, you know, how you portrayed you're behind the camera and you're kind of shocked when you're like, holy shit, like you killed somebody. Like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? You have this jarring, you know, I hope I'm not spoiling anything for anybody that hadn't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, fuck it. But yeah, it's a really neat, you know, realistic way to approach that. It's a cool way to do it.
If they haven't seen it, it's their own fault. And if they haven't seen it, it's their own fault because we showed it right here on a Friday 3 weeks ago. And maybe we'll do it again soon. Maybe we'll do it again sometime. But yeah, let me ask you a question, Jason. You do these movies, and you've got an image in your head of what you want to come out. How close is what you put on film to what you're seeing in your head as what you think it should be? How close does that actually get for you?
For me, I think with my level of not only budget but talent, you know, like I'm not the world's greatest filmmaker, man. Like I'm still learning every time I go out. So I don't think I've come awfully close ever. It's always kind of a compromise. I think with I Am No One, it kind of got, you know, closer than I've been before, and we touched it in certain places, but you know, like on the panel at Days of the Dead, I said, I've always just been looking for someone who will go over the edge with me. Like that, as a filmmaker, that's all I'm looking for. So, you know, he got there. He got there in a few different spots, but that was the whole point of I Am No One, is I just refused to have someone, you know, like say, when I watch women at night, I was like, no, man, that's, like if you watch a Jeffrey Dahmer interview, he doesn't look evil at all.
No, not at all.
Looks like a regular dude. You know?
Well,
so that kind of was the scarier part, is that you know, you can't just walk into a restaurant with my 3-year-old and say that guy right there is a fucking dirtbag. Like sometimes you get that feeling, but I assure you, you're in a Baskin Robbins with a dude with your daughter who is a very, very bad person, and that's just, you know, the numbers we get that you know, there's a lot of us in the United States, man. Some of us are broken, you know, and that's always been scarier to me. Like the monster things, like. When I go outside, I don't really run into werewolves, man, but I run into guys like from the Bunny game quite often, you know.
Yeah, you know, that's
always been scarier to me.
And that's true. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, vampires are so scary." You know, okay, really, there's no vampires in the world. Your next door neighbor could be cutting his wife's intestines out right now as we speak and frying them up with some onions and red peppers. You know, you don't know that. Right. That's, you know, one of the things, if you really think about it, it could kind of drive you crazy if you think about it too much. And then you would end up being like them.
I live by Chicago. Like, we just had this past the weekend before this one in Chicago where a guy got shot twice over $40 in his wallet, you know, like for no reason. They took the wallet, opened it up, took the cash out, shot him twice. It's like, you know, like you can't stop life from happening, man. So that was kind of the point with I Am No One, is we were going to just it kind of infiltrate those, you know, tourist places in Chicago that people feel so safe and, you know, comfortable at, and, you know, kind of push the envelope a little bit with them.
Well, that's one thing that's been crazy.
But literally, there are two actors and me in that film. That's it. Of the 40-some people that appear on film. Like, everyone else just is living their life, man.
Just have to be there. Here's something, too, you know, on that same aspect of I can't believe how stupid people are. Detroit, they're, I don't know if anybody's an urban explorer like myself, but urban Detroit's like, it's like turning into the Mecca, or the Mecca, versus Ohio was, because there's so many cool abandoned buildings in there, and there's actually a guy who is giving tours that you pay him $30 and he'll take you to all the cool spots and whatnot. I'm thinking, who in the fuck is that stupid? You're just sitting there waiting to be walked into a fucking, some drug dealer is going to be like, oh man, I know this fucking, this guy's going to be bringing all these people through here at 2 o'clock. I'm going to hide in the corner and get a big ass haul. How can you be so stupid?
Yeah, people are dumb, dude. When we were out in LA, there was a sign for Compton tours. And you go around on this bulletproof bus, and they take white people through Compton. And I was like, holy shit, get tickets to that and get my ass over there, because I'm going.
Yeah,
I just am going to, like it's some urban safari. You just ride and wave at the black folks, I guess. I don't know. Like,
not that we have anything against it.
That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, jeez, Hoover, what are we going to do with you? No, I'm just kidding. Well, there you got one cool thing, and I'm going to definitely...
That's a real thing. Like,
I know. I believe you. One thing I'm going to do when we're in LA, I already got it planned, is the Find a Death tour. I don't know if anybody's ever checked that out. It was Scott Michaels. He takes you to all the death places, where all the Helter Skelter killings were done. And whatnot. I'm actually going to have him as a guest on the show at some point in time. He did the movie 6 Degrees of Separation, Helter Skelter. Have you ever seen that? Love that fucking flick. So, yeah, but I'm going to have him on the show. That's one of the tours I'm definitely going to do while we're in L.A. Because, Days of the Dead can't get rid of me now because I know too much.
Yeah. That's the problem.
It's like, no, you know too much. So, we got about 10 minutes to go. We've touched a little bit about just about everything tonight. Is there any more questions in the chat room? While we're waiting on questions, why don't you give some more details of what the dates are and the place that the new convention is going to be at, Rick?
All right, we'll start with Days of the Dead Indianapolis, June 27th through the 29th. We're going to invade that town, and then we come back to Indy. Well, we'll have our rest of the Days of the Dead circuit, but we come back for Culture Shock in February in Indianapolis, February 27th through March 1st, 2015.
And it's going to be a blast. Even though, like I said, I'm not a big fan of what's going to be going on there, I'm still a big fan of everybody that's going to be there, so it's all good.
We're still going to fuck shit up. We're still going to party. We're just
going to get drunk and fuck some shit up. And of course, Hoover's going to be there. You're going to do like a comic book movie for the show, man?
I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. Something. I guarantee you that. It'll be something, and it'll be gnarly, and it'll be awesome, and we'll drink 40s, and, it's Days of the Dead. Even though Culture Shock, it's still, it's the same killers that run everything else that's good in the world, so...
I'll be throwing out douchebags with tapped out... Be throwing out the douchebags with the tapped out shirts. You gotta go. Fucking
saving lives. Saving lives, shit. That's what you were doing.
And he doesn't even know it. That's the worst part of it. It's like, oh, that fucking asshole threw me out. No, I saved your fucking life, dude. You about got your fucking beat down.
Bless his heart.
Yeah,
bless his heart.
Yeah, poor Rick wasn't even there. He missed the whole thing,
I heard about it. I heard the story.
Yeah, there's always at least one good story, at Days of the Dead. That's the best thing. You can go, oh, Days of the Dead 2012. That was when I did, such and such with blah blah blah. We fucking kicked that dude's ass. And I gotta find it. I was actually going through my wallet today, and I gotta find what I'm looking for. Where the fuck did it go? I sent a picture of it to Adolfo, and I don't know what I did with it. I actually found one of my original free autograph tags. Remember when you guys gave those out? What was that, 2012, I think it was?
Yeah.
The VIP package. I actually still had one in my wallet.
It's expired. You know that, right?
Oh, fuck. Damn it. Yeah, well, it says I can't.
That is no longer valid. Bill. There's not valid. You're not going to get it. Stop trying to get your goddamn autograph ticket validated on air.
There's no expiration date. I'm taking you to court.
Stop it. No.
We're going to the people's court.
You can use it for Feldman, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for Feldman. That's it. Only Feldman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus.
I've been debating. I want to ask you guys. Should I get this signed by Feldman?
The Stand By Me?
Because I'm afraid I'm not going to get anyone else. You see the Stand By Me one
Yeah,
sheet, right?
I would.
It's
I'm
classy, dude, but I don't know if what I'm worried about is that I'm only going to get Feldman. And then I'm going to have to look at it and be like, I don't like that guy. The wrong Corey died, man. I shouldn't have got him to stand.
Yeah, the wrong Corey did die. I think everybody agrees with that. But, no, that's your request.
This is true, right?
This could be your request for fucking Culture Shock. You want Will Wheaton. Even though I can't stand Will.
Oh, there you go.
I can't stand
I could do that, I guess.
There's a possibility you could
Really,
have
though?
Feldman. Feldman's
I could probably get the Will Wheaton. It's the Jerry O'Connell that's going to kill me. Yeah. To be honest, like, how am I going to get the Jerry O'Connell? That's the one. Like, I don't really run into that dude too often. I've actually ran into Will Wheaton a couple different times, but I didn't have my Stand By Me folded up in my pocket at the time or anything. But
what? You're not Will Bosworth?
Like,
you don't carry that shit around wherever you go? Fucking Bosworth does. He takes it wherever he goes.
Oh, yeah, that. And he seemed to pull out a poster of no matter what you have or what you say. You're like, I love Miss 45. He's like, I actually have a Miss 45 one sheet. Damn, what are you doing? How'd that happen? That guy's, he's got the inside stuff, man.
Oh, wait, here it is. Actually, I found it. There it is.
That's expired. No, yeah, that's Feldman only.
Yeah.
Was it number 35 out of 100?
Yeah,
Limited edition, baby.
That means that you get Feldman's autograph for $35.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that's unlimited Tom Sizemore autographs with that. That's a lifetime Tom Sizemore autograph.
Do you know my Tom Sizemore story? You ever heard that story about Tom Sizemore?
No, but I'm sure it's a good one.
Oh, I probably shouldn't even be saying this, but no, I'm going to say it anyways. Fuck. Tom Sizemore was a dick when I met him. This was before I was staff, so it doesn't matter. There we go. Yeah, I went up to him to get my autograph, and I was getting a picture signed from Natural Born Killers, one of my top 3 movies of all fucking times. And he comes up, and I'm like, hey, how you doing, man? I'm, a big fan of your show. He's like, yeah, cool. And I'm like, well, can I get this picture signed? He's like, yeah. What's your name? Bill? Okay. And I'm like, well, can I get my picture taken with you? His handler goes, that'll be $25. I'm like, that's kind of shady. And he's like, yeah. Didn't fucking look at me one fucking time. Not one fucking eye contact. I'm sorry you just got out of rehab.
You got
You're having a hard fucking time. Yeah, I got Savini. Don't even get me on that.
You got Savini.
Yeah. And actually, Savini was nice to me when I met him. But that was like his second con ever. So, yeah, there's a picture I got signed.
I think the first thing I posted from Days of the Dead LA was Sizemore has a flip phone.
Yeah.
That was my first post from Days of the Dead. Sizemore has a flip phone.
I want to say he had a BlackBerry.
That just tells you everything you need to know right there.
Yeah.
Nah, he had a flip phone. It was, screaming into it quite often when we saw him.
Well, and that's the thing, too. It wasn't just
That's a
me.
legend, man.
And it wasn't just me who said it. I had a lot of people that whole show was like, fucking, he was a dick. And even Adolfo's even saying it. Tom Sizemore was really nice in L.A., total dick in Indy. So it wasn't just me. It wasn't me bringing out the dick in somebody.
He actually has been really nice to me. Every time I've talked to him, every time he's bummed a cigarette, he's always been really cool to me. So, what do I know?
Speaking of bumming of cigarettes, Keith David stole my lighter. I'm not going to ever let him live that down. Every
That'll
time I say, I was like, you got my lighter? He's like, oh, you're the man I took it from. And I'm like, yeah, can I have it back? But yeah, so that's my story. He's got that fucking voice too. It's like, oh yeah.
Ken Forey now will just walk outside and find me in the crowd. I'm just like, hey, there you are. Hey man, can I get a cigarette? I'm like, yeah, here you go, Ken. People are like, that was Ken Forey. I'm like, yeah, he smokes menthols.
Yeah. Go figure. Go figure.
Yeah, right.
Oh, shit. Apparently, everybody else agrees, like I said, about Tom Sizemore in the chat. Derposaurus says one of the worst is Shatner. I've heard that a lot, too. If Shatner doesn't have a long line, he has to the grid. Oh, yeah, I've heard that a lot, too. Wasn't he the one who was doing his pictures were already autographed? The only thing he was putting on them was the name. Wasn't he the one that was doing that?
Yeah, and he couldn't sign for a long time anything Batman related or some dumb shit, or couldn't sign Batman or I don't know, who knows.
Oh, you're in trouble, Hoover.
I know it was something to do with.
You're
oh,
in
good.
trouble. Scary Carrie just came on, of course.
Bye.
Miss Carrie. She says, Hoover, I'd like to state
Okay.
that I also have a flip phone. So, yeah.
Okay, well, I hope that works for you, I guess. I have no idea how you order pizza or live your life, but, you know, I love my phone. I'm going to be like 70 years old with a broken neck just texting the shit out of people. So, good luck with your flip phone, I guess. I don't, you know. At least, you know, the thing about a flip phone is you used to be able to angry hang up on people. You'd be like, slam it close. Like, screw you, man. You can't do that with a phone now. Your iPhone, you're just like, hang it up.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah, what do you got on that? Well, yeah.
no, good.
Rotary
Well,
phones.
you know,
those were the
I
best.
hope that someday she can get a good phone, you know.
Well, hopefully she can, you know,
I
also
hope that.
finally
Maybe.
quit buying toys and be able to buy something nice for your girlfriend. I'm sorry. Anyway.
You know, though, Carrie's almost like that cool that she can rock a flip phone and you see it and it's not even gay. It's like, oh, dang, Carrie's got a flip phone? Maybe I should get a flip phone. Dude, her flip phone's hot again? Like, you know, it's Carrie. She likes to set patterns, you know, so
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe I'll get a beeper. I mean, Carrie will just get beepers and stuff.
Hold on.
Like 911, I gotta call this dude. Hold on. Adelpho just paged me.
911, yeah.
Who knows?
Oh, it's a Nokia, too, that, you know, Adolfo's telling us. So you know that thing's going to last freaking forever. You know, it's more durable
Yep.
than,
And, you know,
than
to
my,
be honest,
than my camera.
Her bill's probably like $7 a month or something too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no
Maybe she's
internet. You know,
you know.
we're paying fucking 120. You know, I got to be able to check Facebook 40 times a fucking day. Because, I'm at a stoplight. Who's talking?
Yeah, really?
Yeah, ooh. That's one thing I got to say that I do not like about my iPhone 5 is it makes it too easy to stop and check shit. Because you're like, oh, boom, hit it, and you fucking just fingerprint. You're like, yep, oh, look at there. Yeah, oh, shit, got to go. It's no more you got to hit the button to fucking get in it with that fingerprint. It's like, boom, you're right in. So if you got a problem with being on Facebook too much or texting too much while you're driving, do not get an iPhone 5. That's all I got to say. Get a Nokia, just like Carrie. There's your public service announcement for the night.
There you go.
So, anyways, it's a
There you
little
go.
bit after 11, so...
Like Carrie can't text and drive if she has a flip phone. Like it'll take her 45 minutes to write I'm on my way. So
Well, and I was
obviously she
thinking
probably
about
doesn't text and drive.
And I was thinking about that the other day. Remember how we used to text to be like, you got to hit the 5 4 times so you get an H.
Yeah. 332 777. Yeah, that's Carrie. She's still living that life.
Well, that's what she says.
She's
That's
probably
why.
good at it though. You know, it's Carrie.
That's why I got it. Super cheap, and that way I'm not the person glued to my phone when I'm out with people. Ha ha. And it's true. You know,
There you go.
I was out this
And her
weekend.
contacts list, I bet she put her contacts list up against any human alive. That chick knows some really cool people, so I guess she does win in the end, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, she's cooler than all of us. We're just trying to bite on her, so we just seem a little bit cooler. So
The numbers don't lie on From Dusk Till Dawn Network. The numbers do not lie.
yeah, this is true. The most popular show, and it's a freaking chick. But you know, it's a chick playing doom metal.
Scary Carrie kills us all.
Exactly. You know, and that's back to dwelling it real quick back to the cell phone subject, and we'll get out of here. You know, it's become really, and I'm just as guilty of it as anybody else. You know, I went and took the kids to the park this weekend, the boy, and you know, all the parents were, you know, sitting there, kids are running around, they're just and I'm actually trying to make myself a better person. I'll publicly here announce it. I am really working hard to keep my phone in my pocket at all times. It doesn't work very well, but I'm trying. So that's
I
my
just turn
public-
mine off.
I can't.
I do. Like,
I can't.
I
'cause of
take
work.
I take my 3-year-old to Lincoln Park Zoo or something. I just turn it off
Well,
because
you know,
otherwise I really will do that. Like, you know, and you know, in the creative business, it's a weird thing. I'm sure Rick can attest to it. Like, you just never know. I look down on my phone and it'll say Sid Haig. You know, like, what do? You answer it. But if I'm looking at sea lanes, man, I just turn it off because you know.
I got
sometimes you do all that stuff for life, so just do it.
I got butt dialed by Jason Mewes once. That's my big claim. I'm like, hello. Of course, I had to sit there for like 20 minutes because something could happen. Just waiting, but nothing happened. I'm like, damn. So,
That's pretty cool. Muse is the awesomest, man. He's awesome.
Oh yeah, he's cool. We still throw texts back and forth all the time. He'll just text me randomly. What are you doing? I'm like, eating. I'm like, okay, what's up? What are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm getting ready to board this flight. And da da da. He gets real bored sitting in airports, and he hates flying too. So
yeah.
So, anyways, in conclusion, that's my advice to everybody. Put your phones down, live life. Rick, what's your advice for everybody tonight?
Put your phones down and live life, man. No, seriously, yeah, that would be one of them. I don't know. I got nothing tonight. I got nothing.
Yeah, you still got that new baby smile though. Look at him. Look at him. Hoover knows what he's talking about. Look at him.
Still there,
yeah.
Yeah, about 6 more months, dude, and you'd be like,
yeah. Still there come indie time. We'll see if it's still
the last sleep is keeping him in that delirious state right now where he's like, oh, everything's great, man. I don't know. What?
Colors.
For the last 15 minutes, I thought I was like dreaming and shit. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm awake. Like, this is happening.
I could taste the color blue.
And then it all changes when they come out of that crib.
Yeah, then they start walking. You're going to want them to walk and talk, and then you're going to want to sit down and shut up. That's all it is.
You know what, though? I think it's awesome, man. Like, my 3-year-old, she literally never stops talking. If she's awake, she's talking. And, you know, I just try to answer her questions and stuff. Like, it's pretty cool once they get to that stage where you can do stuff with them. Like, the guy who was fixing my roof was getting ready to leave, and I was like, throw some horns, and she threw up the horns. And you're like, nah, see, that can't be bad. You know what I mean? Like, for all the time she's been holding her diaper in her hand covered in shit, I'm like, nah, we're even. You know, it's
Milo.
cool enough.
Makes up for it.
But my advice is to keep your smartphone. Use it, go to daysofthedead.net, get your ass some tickets, and get out to the coolest show there is. And buy a real phone, Carrie. That's my advice.
Ooh, you're going to push it, man. She's going to come down on you.
She is hard.
Where's the
She
cat?
loves Wu-Tang and the gangster. She is.
Where's my cat? We were talking. Carrie wants to see the cat. That's my Carrie. So everybody say hi. So, yeah, she's got homework to do. Get out.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah, huh? Bye-bye. Women. Leave me alone. I'm doing my show. I'm being popular. All right, well, let's go ahead and get out of here. I want to thank everybody in the chat room for showing up, putting up with our randomness. That's one thing about this show. Oh, yeah, give me the cat. Yeah. See, and this is my big, fat, annoying cat. Carrie loves him. Say hi, Milo. Say hi. It's like keyboard cat. I don't know. All right, get the fuck out of here. So, thanks everybody for showing up. Thanks to my guest Rick. Thanks Hoover for finally showing up with your late ass. So,
I'm the coolest, man. I gotta do it. Man.
You know, you got to make that late entrance. It's all good. No effect. He's going. Yeah, they're panicking by now.
No, I think that shit really was down. I don't know what's going on. That's how the universe works sometimes.
Yeah, it's all good. You know, that's the good thing about the show. We don't really structure it. It's just our Sunday hangout. Why don't we do this? If you want to be on the show, get a hold of me or Adolfo or Louis or pretty much anybody involved. Let's do another fan show next week. So anybody that's in the chat room this week, if you want to be on the show next week, get a hold of me on Facebook, and I'll see about getting you set up, and we'll do this. Don't know who else is going to be on the show. That's the way we do it. So good night, everybody.